The journey of human life. The journey of a human life is like a bus ride heading toward our own grave. No one can accompany us through the entire journey, including our loved ones, family, or friends. If we are fortunate enough to have someone with us for part of the journey, when they have to leave the bus, even if it's difficult to let go, we should feel grateful and wave goodbye, for at the next station there will surely be someone else to accompany us. Whether coffee is bitter or sweet depends on whether we add sugar or salt. The essence of sorrow doesn't lie in how to forget. It depends on whether you have the courage to move on towards something new. Life is like a cup of tea. At first sip, it might taste bitter, but that's not all. After the bitterness, you'll discover a gentle sweetness. We grow weary because we keep wavering between persistence and letting go. Sometimes we understand it, but in our hearts we don't want to accept the truth. Whoever enters your life does so because of the pull of karma, but whether they stay or leave in a hurry is determined by you. Not explaining is what brings lightness. Not being obstinate is what brings clarity, and being imperfect is precisely what life is about. Don't blame others, don't mock anyone, and there's no need to admire them either. When the sun shines, we bask in its warmth. When the wind and rain come, we seek shelter. Go on and pursue your dreams on the path you choose. You'll find the world is at peace. Suitability is happiness. In life, many things do not have to go our way to be good. The sun won't refuse to rise in the morning because you are unhappy, and the moon won't refuse to set at the end of the night because you're resentful. Covering your eyes does not mean the world becomes shrouded in darkness. Blurring someone else's vision does not necessarily mean the light will belong only to you. In this world, there may be axes and chisels that aren't sharp enough, but there's no tree or plant that can't be cut down. A task is only limited by whether we've thought of the right method. Truly, nothing is impossible. If people want it, they will find a way. If not, they will find an excuse. Life is like a glass of water. Whether it's hot or cold, if the temperature is right, you can drink it. Whether a flavor is sweet or bitter, if it suits your palate, it's delicious. Whether a rhythm is fast or slow, if it matches your ear, it's pleasant. The 4 seasons come in cycles: spring, summer, autumn, winter, but if they fit your mood, then they are all wonderful. As long as something is suited to us, that is happiness. Things that need clarity in life. Each person's life has 2 paths, one traveled by the heart, called dreams, and one traveled by the feet, called reality. If the heart can't sense quickly enough, reality fades. If the feet move too slowly, the dream slips away. In this world, nothing is more painful than realizing the one you love has turned their heart toward another, yet you keep foolishly clinging to affection. Meetings and farewells happen due to predestined conditions. Going along with them to find peace is the most beautiful thing. When someone is with us, being able to give them a sense of peace is already a great success. When we were little, happiness was a very simple matter. Growing up, being able to live simply becomes the true happiness. So that we don't waste our trip here on earth, do the things you want to do and love what you truly desire. People tend to be disappointed because they expect too much. Dreams fade because they're too far-fetched, and they struggle to speak out because they harbor too many burdens. Some people are hard to forget simply because we cannot bear to. Others we must forget because they are not worth remembering. Also, don't trust your eyes too much, because sometimes what you see is what you want to see, while the things you dislike, you gloss over. In truth, if you are misunderstood, you lose nothing. It's those who wrongly judge you who truly lose out on an opportunity. We tend to think we can control our entire life, forgetting that we need the cooperation of many people to live. Don't trade the future for fleeting gain. Remember, anything obtained through the sacrifice of others is never enduring. Life is short. There's no time for regrets. Don't let people or things that upset you occupy your mind for even a minute. If the final result is still unknown, just smile and move on. Life is full of ups and downs, so remember to give those around you a bit of warmth and yourself a little optimism. If we know how to love life and gracefully harmonize all things, our joy and happiness will gradually spread far and wide. Life is not a race, but a journey. In a race, the finish line is what matters. In traveling, the scenery along the way is what counts. If you keep a good mindset, the landscape will appear more beautiful. No matter how many difficulties you face today, believe that only yesterday can't return. Tomorrow will surely come. Don't judge others as good or bad because they don't affect your livelihood. Don't discuss whether someone is morally higher or lower, because you might not be nobler than they are. Don't judge someone's family, because it has nothing to do with you. Don't measure someone's knowledge, for what everyone lacks in this world is knowledge. Don't spend money recklessly because you might be unemployed tomorrow. Don't be too arrogant, because you could lose your footing in the future. Don't show off too much, because no one is entirely inferior to you. Be a bit more humble. Don't rely too much on others, because everyone has many matters to attend to. When they have free time, they just want to rest. Don't harm others, because retribution will find you sooner or later. Never waste time envying someone else's life, no matter how wealthy they are. And don't comment on whether someone is happy, even if they seem lonely with no family. Happiness, like drinking water hot or cold, can only be truly felt by the one tasting it. Don't judge anyone's personality, that's their own affair. The shortcomings you see in others are exactly the flaws in your own cultivation. A letter to one's children. When parents grow old and frail, they hope not to be abandoned by their children, because that's when they need you the most, just as you needed them constantly by your side when you were little. When parents get old, their hands may shake. If food falls off the spoon and spills, please don't be upset. Be patient, because when you were a toddler, you also spilled food all over your clothes. When parents grow old, even if they walk unsteadily, they may still want to go out and soak up the sun, just like when you were little and loved being taken out for a stroll every day. When parents reach old age, they may forget what they were saying and repeat the same words. Please give them a bit of time to finish their story, because it's not really about what they say. What they need is someone to listen. When they're older, if at night they repeat the same stories they told you in the morning, please don't cut them off impatiently. Remember how, as a child, you would pester your parents to tell the same bedtime story over and over again. Though old and weak, seeing their children in trouble, they won't turn a blind eye. They might still try to teach you how to deal with problems, just like when you were small. Accept this guidance openly, for it's just a habit parents have developed to protect their children. When parents no longer have the chance to nag, at the moment they pass away, please don't collapse in grief. There are deaths as light as a feather, and others as heavy as a mountain. If you have truly been a filial child, you will show sincere sadness at their funeral, but not regret, because while they were alive, you did all you could. They will depart carrying your filial devotion, content, and blessing you from the other world. This is how old people are. After a busy lifetime, they too must depart. They only hope for a little patience and cheerful care from their children, without annoyance when they need you. One day you too will be old and frail, just like your grandparents and parents. So while you are young, remember to treat the elderly with a kind heart. The happiness called parents. While your parents are still alive, there is still a family, a place to return to each night, a warm bed for you to sleep in until morning. Stepping into the house with someone to call mother, father, brings warmth and the feeling that you truly are home. Having parents means you have an everlasting bond in this world. You can always rebuild a career or rise up from failure, but once the time with parents passes, it cannot be regained. So when they are still healthy, care for them wholeheartedly so you won't have regrets later in life. When parents are still around, old age is still far from you. You still have time to fulfill your dreams, and the road ahead of you remains open and bright. Having parents means having someone to show respect to, a place to gather together. You can remain a child who never grows up, basking in boundless parental love. When parents are here, there is still a home, still love, still a haven you can rely on and return to. No matter how stormy life gets outside, how tiring or difficult, home will always be a peaceful harbor, embracing you with open arms so you can feel truly happy. Cherish and treasure the happiness called parents. Living in harmony. Our hands are not meant for hitting, they are meant to protect those we love. We often feel lonely or sad, not because the world fails to understand us, but because we can't let go of someone in our hearts. A truly good friend is hard to find, hard to leave, and impossible to forget. You don't need to try hard or hide yourself. Someone who truly understands you will know who you are. You shouldn't reveal your entire heart to someone you've just met. There are those who seem wholeheartedly supportive on the surface but think differently behind your back. Live a bit more happily, because life is impermanent and short. Learning to manage your emotions well is the path to inner peace. No matter how many sorrows you've endured, they will eventually fade. Nothing is eternal. Half of life is memory. The other half must keep going. Return all that's unhappy to yesterday. Give today your trust and hope, and offer tomorrow all your efforts. Everything has its own answer. If you have done your best, there's no need to worry or fret. Just follow the flow of destiny. Don't hurt the one who loves you. We often make this mistake. We're polite and courteous to strangers, yet constantly nag and complain to those closest to us. A small favor from a passerby leaves us immensely grateful, while the endless care from our loved ones never seems enough. We often direct our worst moods and harshest words at those around us, while reserving patience and tolerance for strangers. Each time you feel like showing anger or blame, remember that your loved ones are your shelter in life's storms, not a dumping ground for your negative emotions. In this world, no one is good to you without a reason except your loved ones. For your sake, they can take it all, sometimes sacrificing even more. We can only hurt someone because they care about and love us, so treat those who love you well, don't wound them. Choices. Whether with friends or family, there's no need for flowery words, sincerity suffices. No need for grand oaths, just do what you say. No need to weigh losses and gains, understanding each other is enough. No need for doubt and suspicion, empathy and trust are enough. No need for over-enthusiasm, take it slow and be forgiving. No need to stick together every second, just keep each other in mind. No need for fiery passion, staying together until the end is good enough. No need for wealth and luxury, peace and good health are enough. Choosing the right career can bring a lifetime of success. Choosing good friends can bring a lifetime of wisdom. Choosing the right environment can bring a lifetime of joy. Choosing kindred spirits can bring a lifetime of happiness, and choosing an optimistic approach can bring a lifetime of tranquility. Truth, trust, happiness. Happiness is to be felt, not flaunted. Life is to be experienced, not constantly calculated. Feelings are meant to connect us, not to be tested. Parents are to be honored, not demanded of. Friends are for sharing, not competing with. Family members are to be cared for, not hurt. Money is to be spent, not used as a standard of measurement. Status is for contributing, not bragging. Material things are to be used, not shown off. Trust is for certainty, not pressure. How to be happy. In life, whenever you gain something, you inevitably lose something else. It's not that every time you give, you'll be repaid immediately. Life moves to its own rhythm. The future is still ahead, just keep walking. Give yourself the wings of freedom, move past pain and entanglements, and become a joyful person. Forget the passing of years, disregard age, don't let time weigh you down. No matter how old you are, if you still feel young in spirit, that's what counts. Rise above the temptation of fame and profit, which are external and limited. Everyone wants a bit of reputation and a bit of gain, then scrambles to get it, and when they fail, they blame life for being unfair. In truth, living simply and ordinarily is the greatest happiness. Everyone should have a friend. Wealth cannot be a lifelong companion, but friends can sometimes become your lifelong treasure. It's best to have at least one soulmate, someone you can say a few words to when you feel lonely, but having a truly genuine friend isn't easy, so focus on quality over quantity in your friendships. Build a refuge within yourself. When troubles come, find a quiet space in your heart so your mind can become still. Look at the wildflowers along the road, small though they are, each blossoming to beautify life. Suddenly, the world becomes more vibrant. Think optimistically and live a happy life. It's not because there is hope that we persevere, but because we persevere, we find hope. It's not that opportunities come first for us to seize, but because we never let go, opportunities appear. It's not that you must understand everything before you take action, but because you take action, you gain understanding. It's not that we wait to be mature before carrying responsibility, but by taking responsibility, we truly mature. Likewise, we don't share because we are rich, but by sharing, we become wealthy. We do not face challenges because we have already broken through. Rather, facing challenges leads us to breakthroughs. We don't sacrifice because we are leaders. Rather, through sacrifice, we become leaders. We don't express gratitude only because of our gains. Rather, by being grateful, we discover what we gain. We don't learn just because we have money. Rather, by diligently learning, we can create our wealth. Peace in life. Often you can do 1,000 good things and nobody remembers, but commit one mistake and people will scrutinize even the air you breathe. Therefore, don't fret too much about others' perceptions. Live for a bright tomorrow, with no shame in how you see yourself today. Time is a one-way road. Once traveled, it cannot be undone. Life can be very simple. Once you choose, do not regret. People are often contradictory. We want empathy, but fear being seen through. Sometimes there are things that, when overthought, lead to headaches. When fully understood, lead to heartache. If someone intends to wait for you, they will wait until the end. But if they are heartless, the moment you turn your back, they'll grasp another's hand. In reality, many can smile at you, but few truly hold you in their hearts. If you've been hurt in the past, let it go. Don't carry that burden into the future. What has ended should not be clung to. Also, don't be too eager to grow up. Growing up is a word that contains suffering and loss. It's not just gains. You must sacrifice many things too. There are some roads you must walk alone. No one can share the hardship with you. Cherish such moments, for we only have one life to live. Stop pursuing far-off illusions. Don't mope over what is past, and don't daydream about what hasn't come. Let your heart settle into the present, for right now is peace. Is trouble really that detestable? When your children no longer trouble you, it means they've grown up away from your arms. When your parents no longer trouble you, maybe they've left this world. When your lover doesn't trouble you anymore, probably they have someone else to turn to. When friends need you but don't bother you, there might be a distance that can't be bridged. In fact, in human relationships, we constantly need one another to solve problems. Through these interactions, we can dissolve worry, form stronger bonds, gather new experiences, and learn new knowledge. That's what life is. So cherish the people who trouble you now, and feel thankful for anyone who once came to you for help. Can one pursue a perfect life? In life, no matter how wonderful you are, not everyone will like you. No matter how well you live, some will praise you, some will criticize. No matter how successful you are, people will judge you as good or bad. For every admirer, there's a critic. For every jealous heart, there's someone who dismisses you. That's just how life is. You cannot satisfy everyone, so don't lose yourself trying to please people. Everyone needs their own principles and self-respect. The you seen through others' eyes is never complete but has many different versions. You only need to be the best genuine version of yourself. Because although we all have the same eyes, we look from different angles. Although we have the same mouth, we speak differently. Though our hearts are anatomically alike, our thoughts differ greatly. Though money is the same currency, people spend it in different ways. Right or wrong, good or bad, it depends on one's viewpoint. Different circumstances lead to different perspectives. We are all human, yet each of us lives uniquely. Have confidence walking on your own 2 feet. An eagle can soar without applause, grass can grow without care, and wildflowers in the deep mountains bloom with fragrance even when no one admires them. You don't need everyone to understand your work, just put in your utmost effort. You don't need everyone to love you, just remain honest and generous. Flowers come in hundreds of shapes and thousands of colors, yet each still blooms and emits fragrance without hindrance. In life, each person has their own style. Why not lift each other up instead of tearing each other down? If you feel someone is worth it, then treasure them. If you feel happy, then keep it. If someone makes you joyful, stay close. If you're moved, then love them. Being human might seem easy, but it isn't easy to touch thousands of hearts or control the gossip of the world. Indeed, it's no small feat. On the other hand, being human isn't too hard either. Just keep a kind heart and you're already a good person. Walk your own path confidently. A lifetime isn't that long. Since you've come here, live it beautifully. On the value of adversity. You may know many people, but how many will actually help you when you need it? It doesn't matter whether you have lots of relatives and friends. Notice how many people truly see you when you're in trouble. The ones who dine with you every day aren't necessarily the ones who will lend you a hand. Quality in friendship is far more valuable than quantity. A truckload of potatoes can't compare to a single shining gem. I have a cake. If I share half with you, that's friendship. If I take only one bite and give the rest to you, that's love. If I give the whole thing to you, that's motherly affection. If I hide it away and tell you I'm still hungry, that's how the world can be. A man who experiences poverty once will see who truly loves him. A woman who's unattractive once will find out who never abandons her. A person who goes through hardship once will understand who genuinely cares. True companionship doesn't come from wealth. True appreciation doesn't come from beauty. Time can't preserve riches or appearances, but it does reveal sincerity. Days can't create love or truth from nothing, but they can show you who's genuine and who isn't. Remember others' good points. Cultivate your own virtue. We often commit a common mistake. We get used to someone's kindness, and the moment they slip up, we forget every good thing they've ever done. People tend to remember others' faults more than their virtues, readily criticizing their shortcomings, thinking they aren't as good as we are. The more we look, the more flaws we see, the harder they are to accept. In truth, observing others is like looking in a mirror. If you frown, the mirror frowns back, creating unpleasant reflections. Thus, both sides feel uneasy. A tiny oversight in another person's behavior might appear huge in our eyes when we don't like them. Being forced to face it becomes as uncomfortable as a needle in the eye or a thorn in the flesh. Removing it seems the only relief. Remembering others' faults is like punishing yourself with their mistakes, making yourself unhappy and living in constant discontent. So, try to remember their good qualities and be more tolerant of their flaws. Over time, you'll see everyone has something valuable to teach you. If your heart is filled with goodwill, the world is infinitely more beautiful. It's far better to keep track of others' merits than to dwell on their faults and let resentment fester in your heart. A reminder to myself. Always show respect to others and cultivate tolerance and gratitude. A sea becomes vast because it accepts hundreds of rivers. Be grateful to your friends for supporting you and to your adversaries for making you stronger. In this life, there are two things we must do. One is to move forward, the other is to stop. Are you using a positive mindset and doing either one? A positive mindset is the best companion on the journey, helping you stay happy and healthy. Whether it's someone close or a stranger, if there is a chance to build good relations, give freely of yourself so you can maintain a good connection. Because if you never burn incense on ordinary days, it's pointless to run to the Buddha in times of emergency. We need to accumulate kindness from others, just like depositing money in the bank. The more you deposit, and the longer it stays, the greater the interest. When problems arise, don't be hasty, especially when angry. Avoid jumping to conclusions. Put yourself in different perspectives, aiming to transform major problems into minor ones, and minor ones into none at all. In complex situations, keep your approach simple and definitely don't complicate something straightforward. Learn to feel content. Most of our troubles stem from futile comparisons. Of course, there are people worse off than you and people better off than you. When you complain you don't have nice shoes, think of those without feet. If an adversary angers you, that means you haven't surpassed them yet. Turning back to see who's cursing you is as pointless as biting a rabid dog back when it bites you. Therefore, don't give cruel words too much importance. Don't treat your job as a burden. Instead of complaining, face it cheerfully and positively. View work as life, as art, and you will enjoy the joy it brings. Having one more day to live is a blessing. Treasure it. Life is only a few decades long. Don't do things that will leave you with regret. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. The day passes whether you're sad or happy. If you're not bothered by trivial gossip, your life will be peaceful and your mind serene. There's no need for everything to be black and white. There's a saying, water that's too clear has no fish. A person who's too critical has no friends. If you quarrel with family to win, you lose your kinship. If you insist on being perfectly fair with your partner, the love will diminish. If you want to win every argument with friends, the friendship will eventually dissolve. When arguing, people focus on who's right, forgetting they're losing emotional bonds, leaving wounds that harm themselves too. What's dark remains dark, what's white remains white. Time will reveal it best. Let go of your fixation. Use tolerance when you look at people and things. Add some warmth and calmness. Life will always have sunlight, and you'll be the ultimate winner. Life is a process of self-reflection. Don't expect everyone to understand you, nor all situations to align with your wishes. There are no fixed patterns. As long as you keep a pure heart and sincere enthusiasm, when troubles arise, find your own bit of joy and never lose sight of happiness. No matter how busy you are, don't forget to preserve a bit of youthfulness. Don't wear yourself out if you're tired. Pause and rest. Don't let go of the joy in life. As long as you remember your destination in your heart and know where you stand in the present moment, you won't lose your way. The 3 types of matters in life. In this world, there are 3 main types of matters. 1. Your own matters. For instance, what you'll do today, how you'll eat, whom you'll help, whether you feel happy or sad. All of these are determined by you. 2. Other people's matters. For example, that man is lazy, that woman's marriage is unhappy, that friend betrayed you, why do they not appreciate your help? These are matters determined by others. 3. Heaven and earth's matters, like storms, thunder, natural disasters, epidemics. These are beyond human control. Most of our anxiety comes from forgetting our own matters, meddling in other people's, and worrying excessively about those of heaven and earth. If you want peace of mind, simply mind your own business, don't interfere in others, and don't disturb nature. Whenever you feel uneasy, ask yourself, whose matter is this anyway? That question often helps you untangle the knots. A happy person has a healthy body and a peaceful mind. If you want both body and mind to be well, what must you do? We often feel sadness because of the burdens in our hearts, things that don't go our way. Isn't that right? Carrying these burdens makes our faces sorrowful. Even if we try to smile to show courtesy, it's forced. That's not a true smile. The image of Maitreya Buddha is that of unrestrained laughter, utterly free of pretense. Meanwhile, when we often laugh out of politeness, it's not truly from the heart. Therefore, we need to find a way for our hearts to be genuinely joyful. Then you can smile at anyone, anytime. Smile at the sky, the clouds, the land. Feel everything is delightful, no worries or turmoil. Only then will you be happy. Even if you only have a few sweet potatoes for breakfast, if your mind is peaceful, you can still feel happy in any circumstance. So what is valuable in life is happiness. To live happily, you need a healthy body and a peaceful mind, two essential factors. To achieve that, follow the path of joyful letting go, exemplified by Maitreya. The figure known in China as Kiasi, Hote, or Budai, the cloth bag monk, appeared as a plump monk carrying a large sack. He had no possessions. He'd walk around the market, and anyone who gave him food, he stuffed it into his sack. Then in the morning, he'd share everything with the children who came to play, all of them eating and having fun together. His way of life was to meet everyone with joy, unencumbered by sorrowful thoughts. Before passing, he left a poem, revealing himself to be an emanation of Maitreya. That's why temples often have statues of the laughing pot-bellied monk, carrying a large cloth bag symbolizing joy and letting go. Long discourse on Buddhist philosophy about wisdom, compassion, joyful letting go. What will you do in the last 60 minutes of your life? That was a question posed in a Western press survey conducted among a large portion of the British population. The hypothetical scenario was that a meteorite was about to collide with Earth and you only had 60 minutes left in this world. How would you spend those final 60 minutes? The results showed that 54% of Britons would stay with or talk on the phone to loved ones. 13% would calmly await the end with a glass of champagne. 9% would spend that time on intimate relations. 3% would pray, 2% would indulge in foods they normally had to avoid, 2% declared they would resort to looting, and the rest had other ideas. Have you ever asked yourself this question? Indeed, in such a fragile, unstable world, disasters, natural or man-made, can occur at any moment. We don't know what will happen tomorrow, or even what could happen in the next hour. Impressed by this survey, I often pose this question to the younger colleagues at work. And once I posted it in a youth forum on social media, I got many intriguing responses. Most said they would spend that precious final hour with their dearest ones or do things they had always wanted to but never got around to. I was puzzled why the majority, myself included, have the same thought. Waiting for the very last moment to spend precious time with loved ones. Is there anything more valuable than our final sacred moment in life? That moment, in our minds, seems worthy of expressing our love to family. But no matter how we explain it, we easily see that human affection stands out as the most important thing, surpassing all worldly riches and fame. Perhaps we let ourselves be carried away by daily pursuits, forgetting what truly matters. There might come a sudden point where we never get another chance. One time, on the train home for the New Year, I sat across from an elderly monk. With the journey still long, I asked him, "What would you do in those last 60 minutes?" After some thought, he gently replied, "Each of us carries very different karma. If we wait until that moment, it may be too late. Why wait until the final hour to hastily think about what to do? The Saha world, this world of ours, is fragile yet full of wonders and allure. People fail to realize what's important because they don't know how to savor their own existence. If we learn to enjoy whatever is happening right here, right now, we won't miss anything. Everything is already present in this very moment. What's crucial in life is simply this being. If you regularly practice presence and savor the here and now, you will never need to go searching, and there's no final minute to worry about it all." At that moment, I gazed out the window. The pure light of a new day shone brightly on the vast, gentle fields. The ripened rice plants, bearing heavy grains, stood serenely in the morning sun. The train thundered on, stirring gusts of wind on both sides, causing stalks of rice to sway. Every grain reflected the sunlight, creating an extraordinarily radiant gold shimmer. Somehow I had never perceived such beauty before.